Hello everyone, my name is MegMGCOs and welcome to another video I should have made a very long time ago. This video is based on a tweet I made nearly 2 years ago after all. As you can see, I'm wearing my headset, but we're not playing games today. No, we are going to talk about a theory. A game theory. I was going to do the game theory intro there, but I'm not sure if this stuff's copyrighted or not. So yeah, let's get down to business. After Sigma's addition to Overwatch, I've played him quite a lot. He may have become one of my favorite tanks to play, and that's definitely not tainted by nationalism. Naturally, like any person who poured way too much time into a game, I started thinking. So what's the theory? I hear no one asking. Well, it's this. Sigma can hear gravitational waves. Sounds a bit crazy, right? Well, before I back my claim up, I'm first going to bother you with Sigma's backstory that seems to be completely irrelevant to the video material, but will later on turn out to be very relevant. TLDR, Dr. Siebren de Kuiper, probably named after André Kuipers, the Dutch astronaut, being the smart boy he is, was considered a pioneer in his field. Also naturally, one of his experiments went wrong and he was exposed to a black hole. Instead of turning into spaghetma, his mind got fractured and gravity around him seemed to forget how it's supposed to work. While being imprisoned, he gained control of his power. If this information is incorrect, blame the Play Overwatch side, not me. Within the game, the only evidence that his mind is fractured is the music only he seems to hear. Since his fractured state of mind started with an experiment that went wrong, there's a chance they're related. We don't know the exact nature of the experiment that he was carrying out, but since he's an astrophysicist and since the experiment caused a black hole, it's safe to assume it was a gravity-related experiment. This is what made me believe that the music he hears is not a result of his fractured mind, rather, he can hear something none of us hears. If you are unfamiliar, sound is a wave consisting of areas of lower and higher pressure. This may sound like it has nothing to do with gravity, but we will get to the point if you let me finish my video! We can introduce the gravity as a force that pulls two masses together. It is usually expressed with the following formula, with a big G. Or in some cases, this formula, with a small g. If the mass of one of the bodies is significantly smaller than the other, that is, and in that case the F equals mg is the force exerted on the small mass, not the big mass. The big mass barely cares. This beautiful formula was given to us by Newton, both of them actually, hence why it's called Newton's universal law of gravity, the first one. However, Einstein did not agree with this. According to his theory of general relativity, gravity is a geometric property of space-time. This is often demonstrated with a big piece of fabric and balls. The fabric represents the space-time and the balls represent masses. When something is put on the fabric, it will distort locally. If another ball travels through this distortion, it will slide towards the other ball. Gravity. The theory is way more in depth than I can explain, mostly because it's way above my level of knowledge, and this is all we need for the video. And if I go any further than this, the chances of you guys correcting me in the comments is gonna increase exponentially. Anyways, if two masses of roughly the same mass pass each other, they will spiral towards each other. While they spiral around each other, the dimples they create propagate outwards. This up and down motion happens in a continuous, repetitive fashion. This kind of behavior is known as gravitational waves. Now that I've spent way too much time explaining these two natural phenomena and the force of nature named sigma, it's time to connect the three. First off, we know that the gravity experiments definitely changed sigma. Humans don't naturally float after all, I can confirm as a human being. So what if Sigma's brain somehow cannot tell sound waves and gravitational waves apart, leading to him perceiving the gravitational waves as sound? So that being the crutch of his theory, I'm gonna try to explain it now. His ultimate ability also supports his theory. His ultimate, which is called gravitic flux, is described as unleashing his full powers, Sigma takes flight, lifts enemies in the targeted area and launches them into the sky before slamming them back down. From this description we can read that, using his full power, he needs to at max lift 7 different people off the ground, 6 enemies and himself. This may not be more mass than he grabs for his accretion ability, but it is a lot more intricate. since with the accretion ability all the mass he picks up does have to do the same thing, but with his ultimate ability 1 out of 7 masses goes in a different way. Another thing about the ultimate is its name graphitic flux. The word flux has a lot of meanings, some I cannot mention in this video in case I ever get monetized, but most of them seem to boil down to flowing or change. Which makes sense, since he changes gravity. What is important about this, going back to the fabric, if you change the shape of the fabric and change it again, the shape of the fabric will ripple, so his ultimate generates gravitational waves. During his ultimate he also exclaims, "What is this melody?" Meaning that he hears something while using his ultimate. Another point which I came up while writing the script, which is not present in the original tweet, in his Dutch voice line he exclaims, "Het universum zingt voor mij," which translates to, "The universe sings for me." This may not sound like much, but is basically Sigma confirming my theory. He knows that the sound's not in his head. He knows that the sound has to do with the universe. And another thing. Normally a very common source of gravitational waves are colliding black holes. This may sound like a rare event, but the universe is big, real big, so rare events are still pretty common. This explains why he sometimes randomly hears music. He's just hearing black holes colliding or any other big universal event. The biggest thorn in the side of this theory is, however, that when the frequencies of gravitational waves are modified or shifted to the audible spectrum for humans, it sounds very creepy, rather than the classical music you hear in the game, but that may be a design choice. Also, I do not know how they shift the frequencies of the gravitational waves towards what's audible. That's also way above my knowledge level. All I know is that it gets shifted somehow, probably. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this theory. This is my first theory video and one of my not many scripted videos. So you hear me stumbling over my words a lot. That's because I'm very tempted to improvise. But yeah, thank you all for watching my first ever theory video. I know I was really slow with making it, but since Overwatch is disappearing in October, I need to hurry along with this video. I'll leave links to the original tweets, the sound of gravitational waves, and some other stuff maybe in the description, since I'm not cool enough to have it as a card at the top right of the screen. So yeah, like, subscribe, and do all the other stuff YouTubers say to do, and I'll see y'all on the flip flop. Bye!